Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Today I am going to go over my budget for the week of May 5th. So let's get right into it. So we are in a new month and I went over my May setup and reviewed my overall May budget in another video where I did the decor for this and just kind of went over my May setup, but I will take just a couple of minutes and do a quick reflection on how I set up May. I always set up my monthly and I go in and I just use bill pay stickers to list where my major bills are going to occur and where I need to do money transfers and all type of things that may impact my budget. I list them on my monthly. And then I use, for my monthly calendar and my monthly goals, I use the Work Plus Life hourly layout because I use the Work Plus Life goal setting pages for the month. I don't use the hourly layout. The goal setting pages is exactly what I need. It has a dashboard and then 3 goals that I can focus on for the month. When I do my 2026 update on my budget planner, those inserts that I have on Etsy, I will probably update my monthly and just use my own monthly goals, which I have already in those inserts. It comes with a monthly goal section and a monthly calendar. I just switched to the dated calendar. And so I decided to use the Happy Planner dated calendars. So, but for 2026, as I do my updates, it will be back to my own monthly inserts. Hopefully they will be dated. Okay, so I set up my monthly budget for the month of May. I do an entire budget or budget for the entire month, and I keep that in the front of the month. This is one of Planning by Eva inserts. And then I do my monthly cash flow. I have a lot of whiteout because a lot was changing in May and I just have had to white out a lot of stuff. And then we are getting into the first week, which is May 5th. So that's where we are. All right. So for May 5th, I am going to actually go ahead and highlight my categories. So when I do my budget, I use a digital cash envelope system, digital/cash, because I don't use cash. So it's like cash envelopes represented in a digital environment. For those of us who are not into trying to go to the bank and getting out certain denominations of cash, all that hoopla, this is the budget system for you. And so that's what I use. So each week I have specific categories listed over to the left, and these represent my cash envelopes for the week. These are digital. These are basically the categories that if I was doing a cash envelope that I would have labeled with these variable categories, and I would put cash in those envelopes. Since I don't have that, I use these as digital envelopes. I label them just like I would a cash envelope, and I write how much I want to spend out of that category for the week. So that's what I do. I am going with grocery, $75 for this week. And I use the same highlight color. I can't even highlight things straight. That's such a mess. I use the same highlight color that I use at the end of the month when I do closeouts and that I use during the week when I break down my spending. For entertainment, I am doing, this is dining out. So for dining out, I'm doing $15. Primarily because I like to keep this zero, but that doesn't happen a lot. But I have reduced this a lot because, my focus is on eating at home to eat better. But this week I have a couple of appointments that are out, and I know that I'll probably grab something for lunch or for an early dinner or something like that. So entertainment, this is a little bit higher than I usually have, but there is a book that I want to buy, a hardcover book from Amazon. It is actually a special edition of The Princess Bride, which is a fabulous book in general. And then in my youth, the movie was released back in the 80s for all of us 80s babies. So we all remember The Princess Bride. And it was just, campy fun at its best. So they have a special edition of the film, I think. Well, there's a special edition book commemorating the film. And so it has the complete text of the original book and commentary from like the producers and the actors and all of that in the film. So I really want that book. So that is going in my entertainment budget for this week. So auto, this is basically my gas or transportation, because I have a couple of appointments outside of the office this week. I will need to buy more gas. And then personal is higher than normal as well, because it is Mother's Day week. So I still need to get a Mother's Day gift, and I already know what I want to buy, but I've had to budget for that. So to round out the category dashboard section of my week, I just have my key bills that I need to pay for this week listed. This is not all of my bills, but these are the ones that I really want to pay. Well, I want to pay all of them, but these are the ones that I don't want to forget, and I usually have to pay those on a specific day during the week. Or I have to call, for example, when I pay my taxes, you know how these government run things are. I actually have to call in to pay my taxes, so I need to set some special time to do that. That's why I always list it. It doesn't just come out automatically like everything else. So, stuff like that is what makes me list things here. And then I have a meal plan, because food is one of my biggest costs every week, hands down. And I am definitely trying to improve how I eat, diversify what I eat. I don't have horrible eating habits, if I'm honest with you. My worst habit is actually not eating 3 meals a day. I generally don't eat breakfast, typically don't eat lunch, and then I'll eat a big dinner, and that's like the antithesis of what you're supposed to do. So you're not supposed to do that. So I need to eat more balanced meals throughout the day, throughout the week, and make them a little bit more diverse. It's hard right now because food is so expensive, especially where I live. It's just ridiculously expensive, and we don't have a lot of warehouse places. I'm not talking about Sam's and Costco, because I'm a household of one. I don't shop at Sam's and Costco that much. But I mean, some places, especially in the Midwest and up north, they have a lot of salvage grocery stores, or really nice discount grocery stores. We just don't have a lot of that in my area. I'm pretty much stuck with Publix, and if you know about prices in Publix, you know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty much stopped. I'm pretty much stuck with Publix and Walmart. And there are only certain things that I get from Walmart, so it is what it is. You still have to work to try to eat healthy, no matter what. You just have to budget for it. You got to be creative. So you see probably some things that I don't eat normally, like chicken salad, which I love, but I rarely make. But it's actually really easy to make. It's really good, and it's really affordable, and it's a healthy option over something else. And you can make it ahead of time and store it for a couple of days. So anyway, that's my meal plan. And then down here, I just list things that I don't want to forget. That's all this is. So, for example, gifts, the book, all that stuff. So these are purchases that I might want to buy. Let's see. Live Love Posh has a release coming this week. If it's in my budget, I might buy a few things. There's some stuff from Scrappy Wife that I think I want to buy. If it's in my budget. So that's what this is. They're not bills necessarily. These are kind of wish list items. And then this is an open box. And this week I just decided to list out my variable expenses that are coming out that I don't keep track of over here. well, they're not variables. For the most part, they're subscriptions. So I shouldn't say variables because they stay the same every month. So it's not really variables. But it is my subscriptions that are coming out just so that I can see what they are. I keep track of those on my expense tracker. And if they're a business subscription, then I keep track of that on my business planner. But I still like to know what they are. And I have it listing in several different places. You know, I could flip back to my cash flow and see it here for May 5th because I have them listed here as well. But I just like to list them here as a reminder. So that is about it. My expense tracker page is blank right now because this is the beginning of the week. It has not officially started. As soon as I start making expenses and transfers, I will list them here and color code them to meet the categories. So that is all that I have to do for my May 5th budget, the week of May 5th. I do need to work on my travel budget this week, actually. I have a couple of trips coming up, one in May and then a really big trip in July. So I need to start putting these travel budgets together and setting up some savings trackers for these budgets, because if I don't get it together this week, I'm going to start misusing that extra money when I could just be dropping it into my travel budget fund. So I really want to sit down and figure out what the actual budget is going to be and finalize some of my activities for my vacations, because I need to do that before I know exactly what the budget needs to be. So a lot of work to do on preparing for those 2 trips in the summer, one around Memorial Day and then another one the end of July. So I will work on that this week, and hopefully next week I'll be able to go over what this travel budget is going to look like for me. That's it for the month of May. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and happy planning.